Hey, in this video, I am sharing how to use Notion for a multi-layered content creation process that you can over time build on top of that. For example, a series of content that you eventually want to turn into a book. In this video in particular, I show you my process of creating a series of prayer that will eventually turn into a prayer book and how I use this process to share my work on social media and making sure that all channels are fed into, and also how I can use that as a way to calmly create a project over time without feeling overwhelmed or disoriented. Hey, my name is Hedy Shaw. I am a mindfulness teacher and a body worker, and I support people to uncondition themselves from what keeps them stuck and in pain through posture work, breath work, nervous system regulation practices. And sometimes I do share behind the scenes on the things that support my body, my life, and my business. And this video is in that category. Let's get into it. Welcome to my Notion dashboard. So we go to the content section, and I do have a project tab, and I go into the book tab that I created, the prayer series. If you've never used Notion, Notion is amazing for its databases. So basically you can create a database, or aka a table, that can house all the projects that you're working on, all, like in this case, all the chapters, all the videos, all the audios, everything. And then you can change the view of that. So then you can really have access to multiple view of the same project, or you can create segment of that project to display on the series of tab above. I had plenty of prayers lying around from my own personal prayers that I wanted to find. And because I use Notion as a way to write my own prayers, I basically used AI to find my prayers and then write them down for me for each categories without doing anything or any edit on the writing, because I wanted it to be my own words. Basically what Notion AI did for me, it pulled out all the prayers that I already have been writing personally and then categorized them for me, and then I named them and I swift through them to see which one is relevant to what and which one I can use and which one I need to keep writing. So this one is ready. So it's already been published and it's already live on my YouTube and my Insight Timer and Spotify. And the rest I have written quite a bit in them. So they're almost done. I need to edit them out. And these ones that are in idea phase, so I have the title, I have a feeling that I want to write about them, but I just don't have enough. I may have a few sentences here and there in each one of them, but that's the extent of it. Before I go into each individual prayer, this is how I created category. So status here, it's for writing. There's that icon of writing on the side. So it's either in idea phase, it's in progress, or it's ready to go. And then in the status, the recording status, again, I have recorded, edited, and ready, because when I do record something, I need to dedicate time to edit it. And sometimes I can't finish all of it at one sitting, or it's not a priority at the moment. And then these are the channels that I want to make sure that this is posted on, because so often I create a piece of content but I forget to share it in other channels, and then I completely forgot, and that never see the light of the day because I go to the next content. I want to make sure that I pay the reverence to each content that I create so they are published properly everywhere. When they're published everywhere, I will tick this, and if there are any URL or any files I'm working on the side, then I'll dump the URL here if that's necessary. The other thing that I absolutely love Notion for is your ability to create frameworks or templates for the work that you do. Because I have a very creative brain and I synthesize information all at once, so often I don't know how that happens. So I just know that needs to look a certain way. And using Notion, because it's super flexible, it really allowed me to create templates that works for me. And it also, over the past 7 months that I've been, or maybe more than that, that I've been using Notion, I really feel like I've gotten better at creating system based on my natural tendencies. So let's say we go into this prayer that's already been published. So I want to make sure that I do have a structure for every prayer that is being repeated over all the prayers, that the people who actually listen and tune in, they have a sense of familiarity, even though the prayers are different. So the intro, I want all the intros to start with on days, you, and then that's going to be the intro. And then this is going to be the main text or the body of the work here. And then this is how I close all the prayers. And then I typically need to choose titles, and the titles for YouTube is different than the titles for Insight Timer, so I put them here. Typically the description is the same. And then when they're recorded, I put the files here so I have easy access to it. And sometimes I work with other people, like I hire a VA and I want them to use these, or I define a task for them. It's really easy to just send them a link and then have them use that instead of me constantly looking for content. So that's an idea. So the cool thing is this, I want it to be repeated across board for all the other prayers. So what I did here, I created a template. So this is a template that I created, which is basically what you've seen, but it's the bone of that work. And then I created it here. You basically go here, add a new template, and then you choose that template as your default. And then when I add a new page, it automatically creates that framework for me. So I don't have to think about it. So I do feel really supported by this structure because I don't need to constantly dog paddle and find ways to, make things look nice. It's already there. And this entire database only took me 10 minutes to create. Obviously, I pay for Notion and I do have access to AI Notion as well. So that made my job significantly easier because basically what I did, I worked on my first prayer as my template, and then I asked AI to create a template for me and then duplicate all that framework across board to the other prayers that I already written, and make sure that the body of the text that I've been already working on is going to go into that orange box that I created. And then I do have a section on prayer, the prayer book itself, because I already have written some of the chapters of the book. And if there are any ideas that I want to work with, I go and add in that section. If you're interested to have something like this for yourself, I was thinking, maybe I could use the chat prompt that I actually used for my AI to create this and then put it down below in the description box. And if you do enjoy these kinds of videos, let me know and I would be more than happy to create more. Notion is one of my obsession and I've created so many different systems for myself and it's been extremely enjoyable. And one more thing is in this section, like later down the road when I want to create graphics or anything that I do want to add to this visually, then I can use Notion to make this more of a visual experience as well, like maybe different designs for each chapter that I want to use in the book. I can do that and then have them be displayed overlay on top of this. But because that's not my priority right now, I didn't want to waste my time doing that. So I'm sure at some point I will do that when I have a more clear vision on how that could look like. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.